Let's see. Alrighty. Cool. So sorry guys, just a little bit late today. Had a meeting that went over just a little bit overdraft. Got a lot of stuff packing on this summer, doing a lot of different projects right now, and usually start these days kind of early. Just gonna double check the technicals, make sure we're all good before we get started. Make sure you guys can hear me, and look at all the levels from OBS over here. Yep, we're looking good. Awesome. Appreciate you guys' patience like always, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just think I bit off a little bit more than I could chew this morning for sure. Awesome. Cool. All right, guys, we are all good to go. Well, alrighty, guys, welcome back. All my new viewers, welcome to MTV TA. I'm your guys' host, Trent Manager. All my returning patrons and returning viewers, glad to have you guys here. Blessed to have you guys here on this Thursday, right? My goodness, this week flew by. But yeah, guys, we got a lot of good articles to cover today. We're gonna be going over some different case scenarios. I think I'm gonna try to pull up some videos as well. I didn't see any videos that I thought were striking. We're also gonna be hopping to the charts a little bit today, kind of just see where we are sitting at. I did a little kind of map out, draw out, from a couple weeks back. I haven't really hopped in the charts too much just because of the volatility and just everything that has been going on. We've just seen so much market sentiment change. But there is definitely some good news. Like always, there's always some great news that comes out during these times, and underneath all the smoke and mirrors, there are still things that are getting done. Just because price action is down does not mean that we are done. Absolutely not. So. Alrighty, guys, we're going to go through our agenda real quick and see what we got to cover today. So starting Thursday, we are going to have our first article covering. We're going to cover, finally, I don't know who came out and said this. I think, is this the article? Yes, Rick Eldman. We're going to go over that just in a second. They finally came out and said crypto is an emerging asset class that is here to stay past 150 years. So that kind of made me smile all the times that we've kind of been saying that on this channel, which is so funny. Inflation may be higher than ever expected. We're also going to be covering that article on Bitcoin Magazine. We're going to go into the video of Jerome Powell meeting with the Fed yesterday. For those who didn't catch that video yesterday, it was only about an hour. Jerome Powell did come on to give a quarterly update about inflation rates, Fed printing, and everything, and so on. Really good watch if you want to watch that. Highly recommend. We're gonna not watch the whole thing, but I'm gonna show you guys where to get that so you can watch on your own time. I did watch it the other day, and it was quite scary. The calmness and the resilience that these guys have to just not admit their issues and like what they've done and like how this is a problem of them printing money. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Also, remember, 81% of hedge fund managers believe Bitcoin is a bubble. New Bank of America survey shows. So we love our big banking buddies coming around and saying things like this. Sorry guys, let me turn off my phone real quick. Get that little. Awesome, guys. And we're also going to go over NVIDIA's MetaVerse is coming. I know we don't talk about NVIDIA a ton, but actually, no, we don't, because it's more of in the mining community. It's a little bit kind of off our education sector, but this is huge. I do own NVIDIA stock, which is phenomenal, and I think NVIDIA is they're the top leader in GPU production, not CPU, but overall just graphics cards, AI, and just really inclusive machinery. So everything you see from your monitors in your if you have a Tesla, monitors in your Tesla, TVs, they do a lot of those, kind of, not like TSMC, but a little bit more gaming orientated around that realm. And we're also going to go over finally our listed companies for trusted. Listed companies trust now control over 7% or about 7% of Bitcoin supply. So we're going to talk about that and kind of show how that's important. By the way, and this should not slip you by at all. That 7%, that's a lot, and we're going to cover that a little bit deeply, and we're going to kind of explain really not what I think is going on and what we kind of know and what we are seeing going on. So let's kind of hop into it, guys. Let's just go into our first article and get to it. So Bitcoin first generally new asset class since 150 years ago, Rick Edelman says. So we have our hedge funds coming in here, and we've talked about this plenty of times. I'm going to give you guys the shakedown. I've already read all these. I don't need to go word for word for you guys like you. Most of you guys already know. Most of you guys have been here for quite a bit, but we do get our new people here and there. But really going back into the article, most of our financial advisors here that step into cryptocurrency realm, it's been 150 years since we've got a new asset class. So 150 years ago, that was the gold rush that we had, and that was more regional based. So that was more California, Arizona, on the West Coast side. A lot of people on the East Coast, they came over here to come, start mining gold and, trying to, find these assets. And then of course we had the people who were a little bit on top, a little bit more forward thinking, and they sold the shovels, they sold the granite, they sold the shoes, they sold the helmets, they sold the masks, they sold it all. So there were really two different winners in terms of this asset class, not cryptocurrency in general, but I'm comparing the gold in particular because that is the most recent asset class we had before this. So the people who sold and the people who went and go digged. So it kind of can play out in the same way that we're doing now. So just like we see with this asset class of cryptocurrency, you can invest for the long term. There's that greed mentality that we have, that quick in, easy money, get out, or that there's that longevity term, and like this is what I often like to say is that if you understand the technology, you understand blockchain, you understand really what this is all about and how this is going to shape our financial system, not only just our financial system, but overall, how we govern documents, sensitive data, and so on, you would have a more incentive to, stay longer and, not be phased, by the chitter chatter or, price action. Those who don't understand the technology and kind of just want a quick flip and really just want to, have the greed mentality in here. And that's okay, but it's hard to, number one, first find projects that are greedy enough that aren't, actually, hold on. Sorry, guys. Let me take a step back. It is easier to buy and hold and know your investments and know your projects than it is to YOLO and try to find that next 5x or 10x. There you go. That's a more simpler term. I didn't mean to get that in depth with it. But just the overall financial professionals coming along and coming out and saying this is great. So we like this because we've been saying this number one in here for a while. We've talked about the Lindy effect and how this applies to non-perishable goods. And it was really just a matter of time before not even some of these guys, but even just one of these guys came out and said, hey, all right, I may not like this, I may not understand this, and this change may scare me, but I cannot ridicule and continue to not understand this technology and continue to bash it without even giving it a chance. So now we're starting to see a lot of these guys really start to take the education side seriously. And we say this often is that education is our biggest barrier to entry. That is by far the biggest. It's not the funds, it's not the it's not the projects, it's not the protocol. It is literally education. It is just overall understanding what this does for you, your business, and everyone around you. So that's really the best way I want to put it down. In the quote down here from Mr. Edelman, he says, most financial professionals have been in the business a long time, but more experience, the more talent you have, the more difficult it is to get your head around Bitcoin. And that's completely true because Bitcoin is just the starting point of, blockchain technology. First, blockchain is what really makes up everything of this possible. So for those who want to go do deeper research, I really recommend it. If you need any help with that, please comment and let me know or send me an email or anything along those lines. I'd be glad to send you guys some starting materials or just overall go into the Patreon. Our lowest tier starts at $3. So also, we're going to go through our Jerome Powell admits inflation could be higher than expected. That is just over here. So if you guys want to go and watch this, I'm going to open this up for you guys real quick. This is it right here. This streamed yesterday at like 3 p.m. Yeah, people did not like this. So, if you want to go watch this on your own time, really good. I watched the whole thing. Jerome Powell answers some questions. He goes over the GDP, a lot of inflation rates, what's to come. I'm not going to lie, guys. It's very scary, just in terms of how they're so nonchalantly producing and saying that these quotas are going to get hit, and they're not even really acknowledging the money supply of like how much we've really put in, and they just refuse to acknowledge that, which scares me, which really does. And for obvious reasons, you guys have probably seen that affecting in your daily lives, whether that be rent increasing, food is increasing. You guys might have seen Chipotle upgraded their to make up their wages for their employees. They upgraded their menu 4% on the original price. Like things are just starting to really they're starting to snowball. You're starting to see now that, hey, this stimulus maybe was not a good idea for us to do 4 times, and now all we have, and it's not just a stimulus, guys, that we've had issues since early 2010 of this. This has been ever since that housing crisis in 2008. I wasn't really alive I was alive, but I was very young and I didn't really understand the concepts of really what was going on. But really what he covered in the meeting, inflation could turn out to be higher than more present than we expected. Fed maintains 80 billion treasury, buying 40 billion in MBS, buying power per month. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely terrible. Fed will continue buying bonds until substantial further progress on goals. Even after liftoff, policies will remain highly accommodated. The dots are not just great for forecasts or future for mover rates. Definitely why this is for sure such an issue, especially when it comes to the bonds market, is that for those who do not know, I think we talked about this a couple months ago, is that bonds are the backbone of the monetary system. So when you have bonds are basically the government's way of telling you, hey, we're doing our job right, and this is why you should trust us and continue to buy our bonds. So there's one point where we went negative in the bond market. So that would basically mean you give your sister or your uncle or whatever a front of money, so $500, $1,000, and they come back and say, hey, I don't have the payment for you up in full. So you're like, okay, all right, well, how am I going to get this payment? So you're either going to work this off or do away so I can get this repaid. That's basically the same thing government is doing. You're giving them money to go irresponsibly spend it and then come back to you and say, hey, we need more from you, whether that be in taxes, higher interest rates of inflation, so it means your food is higher, your gas higher, cost of living ridiculous, so on and so on. So you're starting to see how it's very why in the world would we trust these guys with any sort of money? Like, why in the world would you want to trust Bank of America, JP Morgan, Jay Powell why would you trust these guys to even handle any of your money? And that's where we're going to lead into our next point. So that's where I'm going to leave that there. For those who want to watch that video, really, really good. It was good insight of what's going on. But guys, I'm going to be serious. I'm really worried. And in terms of assets and things that you might need to buy to hedge against this, it can be a range of things. We got precious metals. I do own some precious metals. We got cryptocurrency. We got real estate. We got stocks that are still doing great. I'm a little on the fence about the stocks. I haven't been investing too many stocks because I think we're really high overbought right now. I think we're way too high for where we are. But if there's a good dip on a month or something, I'll definitely dive in there. But I'm very worried about how nonchalant and how they just don't care about the amount of money that just printed. That's what fears me. And hopping over to our next article, 81% of hedge fund managers believe that Bitcoin is in a bubble. So we like to see this again. This is going to piggyback off our next topic, actually. So how these guys, number one, realize their mistakes, and number two, that they are now hedging to not only secure themselves from their own mistakes, but screw you over as well. And I know this is coming off as like a really bash against the government type video, but realistically, if you go back and watch that video of the inflation rates yesterday, and you go and look at how Jay Powell interacts with a lot of those economists and all those guys on the Zoom call, girls and men on there, about how, their questions are very considerate, like, hey, how much is this going to affect us in 2 years or 4 years? How is this going to play out in terms of keeping our monetary system together, and how this is not going to ultimately screw us? And he just kept answering number one, the same question, and kept saying pretty much the same answer, is that, hey, this isn't an issue right now. You need to worry about that when it comes, and you need to worry about what you need to do now to prepare for that. So that was a concern for me. So you don't care enough straight up, to care about the issues now. So either give, not even hedge advice, but just overall be honest and truthful and saying, hey, we messed up. This will be a huge tidal wave here in a couple years. We need to do something that is going to hedge us and give us a little bit of a better outlook of how we're going to do this. And they refuse to do that. So what do they do now? So now when you get to an asset class that is new and emerging after they pass 150 to 200 years, and I think I'm going to do a video on, how the blockchain technology emerges us to a whole different realm of civilization. So like what I mean by that is that if you don't know what like a type 0 is, or like a type 1 civilization, that doesn't just apply to like international like space travel. I know the big thing is like space travel with it, or like becoming immortal, or like having our conscious kind of transfer. I know I'm getting off topic here, but it'll make sense when I connect it. Is that even just in the financial monetary system and the overall engagement of finance, is that next step up is literally in one of the key factors it says is the way you go from a industrial, one of our next step type civilizations, is that a monetary system comes in play that is not centralized. So literally a decentralized ran by, like, it literally strictly says that is the next step of a financial system to get us to that next level of evolving as a civilization, which I think is absolutely insane. So really going down to our fund manager believe our Bitcoin is a bubble, and there's a reason that they are talking about this. So isn't it funny that we've seen with AMC, GMC, we've seen with so many of these manipulated in the markets, and people come here and people that I talk to as well, they're like, oh, crypto markets are so rigged, like, oh my gosh, they're just playing you, and this is what we forget also, is that we prayed that these institutions, these big guys would come in here and get us to the next level, and we knew that these guys would come in and get us to the next level for what we need to be as an asset class. We need that big money. But what people also neglect is that when these big guys come in, if you think that these guys care about you in any shape or form, they don't. Like, these dudes could care less about your portfolio. They could care less about if you want to buy a house. They could care less about your interest rates. They could literally care less about you. They don't care about you. They want to set themselves up and their business for the next leg up to be that thumbs up company and continue to either pass down wealth to their family or their overall company and can keep the ball rolling. They don't want this to disrupt their already 50, 60 plus enterprise that they've built up either from the ground up or, they've made it so concrete now that you cannot infiltrate or have the issue. This is the real silver arrow. This is the silver bullet that these guys are fearful of. And they understand this. And coming from me, and you guys understand this, that, I got to sit down with some of these people and say, hey, if your guy, and not as big as, JP Morgan, but there are some guys of equities that I've sat down and said, hey, if your guy is telling you, you should not be touching this, you shouldn't be dabbling in cryptocurrency, you shouldn't be dabbling in blockchain technology, not good for your business, I tell them to fire them. I really do, because that's not only just neglect on the technology, that's overall just misinformation, and there is something that needs to be covered. So getting back to the main point is that these guys want to, number one, control this market and keep you out. That's one reason why they came in here. They understand that the rates of inflation, and they understand that money printing is not going away, and this is only going to get worse. And they are coming in here to take over this space and keep it for the next leg up. So now what they want is that they want to control majority of this cryptocurrency space, whether that be Bitcoin, Ethereum, majority of these large cap coins, and then they can have the same play and manipulation they do on the stock market. It is crazy to think about, but it is just how it is. It truly is true. You see the stock market manipulated as crap, we saw with AMC and GMC and so on. So I know I was a little bit ranty right there, but I think everyone needed to hear that, and I think it's important that we take in consideration that these guys, are not in our best interest. So. Hopefully that was really good for you guys. Sorry, I really got into that for a second. But also going over to NVIDIA, I joined NVIDIA. So NVIDIA comes out and says our metaverse is coming. So their CEO, Red Hot Computer Processing Development, NVIDIA says world stage is entering the age of AI. So I enjoy NVIDIA, and just overall covering this is a short one right here. NVIDIA has been one of the lead producers in graphics cards for mining cartels. So all mining cartels mean is that you have your big mining farms, that mine these proof of work coins. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, a lot of these coins are proof of work. So, they take graphics cards, they solve these algorithms, they take these CUDA cores, and they implement them in the network, and the network solve these algorithms to pop out what we call, cryptocurrencies reward. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and that's how miners are received, and that's their incentive to keep mining is, proof of work, mining and algorithms. So with that being said, NVIDIA has made a huge crack. A majority of their GPUs are used for, I think 80% of the GPU market is used for mining. I know gamers and other people, VR-related individuals who use, of course, NVIDIA for their daily needs. I have an NVIDIA GPU in my computer down here on the floor. But overall, where they're moving, NVIDIA is moving quickly, and I believe they will be a top competitor in terms of just moving forward with the AI race and how they're going. I didn't notice this was back from 2020. This was old, but they came out again. I'll have to find the real matching article with that. I didn't notice back from 2020. I must have just completely skimmed over that. But there was a newer one that came out and was a little bit more, a little bit more modern. And going over to our SEC friends, they reject Bitwise's latest Bitcoin ETF proposal. So what does that mean for us? I have. It's so annoying. Oh my goodness. Canada has 8. I know Panama and there are so many other countries who are officially filing, and for some reason we just can't get it together. And it doesn't, I understand why, but it's just ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous that these guys still can't get their heads together and continue this. And this is back from, I didn't notice this one either. This one's back from 2019 too. But even in terms of here, if we even look up real quick. If we even just do, no. Let's just go to the SEC denies approval yet again. So, I probably just clicked the wrong article. But again, they're denies, and they're not giving us the ETF coverage. And, realistically, guys, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. We've covered this enough to know that this is not going away, and this will kind of be here to stay. I know I'm kind of all over the place today, and I'm not emotional today, but I'm just so sick of the same old narratives that these old guys really throw at us, and just the lack of really wanting to be educated, because that's the problem with me. I don't care if you don't want, like, I'm never going to shove this down your throat and say, hey, you need to do this or you're going to stay poor. Like, no, there are plenty, there's money everywhere. There's careers that people don't even think about that, perform better than doctors. But it's like, in terms of, you're going to come in here and refuse to be educated, but you're just going to come in, either buy the products, but you're going to talk trash and not be educated, but just buy the asset in whole and continue to talk trash just because for the greed aspect. Like, that's just where I have a problem, because these, and I know what they're doing. They're shaking little guys out to gain full control. Like, these guys are the worst, and the reason I keep repeating that is just because it is overwhelmingly true. It is so overwhelming, it's ridiculous. Like, you saw it with GMC, AMC. You see it; it's still going on, and these guys just refuse to give it up. So. And also, this is going to be another good coverage for us as well, is that our listed companies, trusts, and ETPs now control almost 7% of the Bitcoin supply. And I do believe that, absolutely. We have a lot of big players in here. Even if we go to, let's go to what companies own a BTC on balance sheet. Let's just do that real quick. Awesome. I think this is a public company, of course. Let's see. Oh, wait. Here we go. This is the updated list, I think. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so we got a couple billion, MicroStrategy, of course, Tesla sells a couple billion, Galaxy Digital, a couple billion, Hunt Mining, like a lot. And these are, I think a lot of these are just, some of these are U.S. too. I don't know if they go out of country as well, but I do know a lot of out of countries are now piling on a ton. El Salvador kind of started that small spark. I know Panama, we talked about Tanzania on Tuesday as well. The seeds are getting planted, and, it's really a matter of time. It's just one day at a time. We've been here. I think we've been doing this for like 7 months now, 7 or 8 months now. It's crazy how fast, like, this time, it's already June. So like, it's crazy how fast this time goes by, but it's crazy how if we go back and look at what this once was, if we go back in August time, or if we go back October time when we started this and we looked at this chart like we did so often, this has grown double, if not triple, the amount of adoption. And honestly, guys, you got to really ask yourself, is this list going up, or is this list going down? What is it? Are more institutions and countries adopting, or are they saying, nah, screw this, we don't want this? It's obviously the thumbs up, and it's going to continue. So, that's where things come into me. I don't follow what people say. I follow what people do. So when I see countries and governments and individuals really putting their money in here, and I see it on the balance sheet like I do here, that should be giving you a more incentive. You can't fake these type of numbers. At least I don't think you can. That would just be mind-shattering if possible. But I don't think MicroStrategy's playing around when they got 2.9 billion. I don't think Wisdom Tree is playing around when they got $1.5 million, $3 million of their company balance sheet. So it's just it's more of following the sentiment of action than it is to following the sentiment of talk. So which I think is pretty awesome. So and also, guys, just for a little quick Ethereum update, I haven't really been talking too much. I haven't really been covering Ethereum too much. I've been trying to get get the individual videos together all at once and compiled and ready, just so I can go over certain chapters. I do need to make an update on EIP 1559, which is coming here next month. That is going to be huge. We got a lot of great updates and protocols coming out here for a lot of these projects. Even Bitcoin is getting a makeover after like 4 years. Their Taproot. I'm going to try to make a video. I'm going to do more research and make sure I can explain that properly for when that does come out, because I think that's really, really important. Also continuing, we're going to hop into our quick little TA chart that I constructed. This was a little bit too long ago, but this is kind of just where we're sitting. So if we do our quick little stance. Cool. We've been in this downtrend for about 64 days, if you can believe it. Wow. Oh my goodness, dude. The world is over. But realistically, where we're sitting, I got our point of resistance 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we've seen us test consistently on floor 1. And of course, now, and I know it's hard to, really be like, why can't we just break through? And it's like, we've lost this to support. We got to flip this back into hard support. So that's around the $40,000 level. I'd say the 38 range, the 38 to 40K range is about the same. So these I could see as, when we do slingshot up, past our 100K mark, which I still truly believe that we are still in the cards for. On-chain metrics and data still show us currently in a very, very strong trend, no matter the price action that we've had for this downward slump. We've only been in this 64 days. That's like 2 months, compared to what we just experienced for the past, let's see here. Oh my gosh. Our first initial leg up for our 85 days, you know, like even more than that. Sorry, excuse me, 140. So, getting back to the main topic of, you know, our charts here, 2 is our second floor of, you know, we got to break through, which is going to be, I think, a lot easier. I truly think if we can start closing daily candle closes above 42, then we're looking pretty good. In terms now, we got to really break this 40K neckline, and truly, I think that it is possible that if we do fail enough times, there may be an outcome where we could definitely, you know, break down to a little bit of lower 30 range. I could not see us going down to 25. I just couldn't. And even if we did, guys, I'm going to say this honestly and as honest as I can, that unless you have limit orders or orders already set to execute at that price, you know, if you think that you're going to hop on an exchange and be able to buy this if it does go down that low, you're sadly mistaken. We've seen it time and time again with these exchanges going down, you know, from volume influxes and, you know, just overall overwhelming of their servers, Coinbase, Voyager, Robin. It will happen again. You're going to see it here in a couple weeks, a couple months. You're going to see that, you know, when the people start funneling back in, when we start doing well again in this price action, that you're going to have people who weren't here for the 64 to 80 days that we were in our downtrend, but they're going to come back when we start breaking through hard resistance levels such as 1, 2, and 3. So that's just my thought on it. But where we could definitely be in the you know, the medium term, we could definitely, I could see us bobbling around here for a little bit. You know, maybe taking our test up here for a second. You know, getting rejected, bobbling a little bit more currently, and then again maybe flip this into support and then continue to, you know, rocket up that way. It will be a slow climb uptrend. It is not going to be a just absolutely parabolic move, I think, like that we've had. I think we've got a couple floors that we've got to flip and really have hard support on, just because like back here, and this is why it was so important, why I thought and the reason why we have to do this now is because if you think about how much time we spent at, you know, this first floor, I think see here, look, this 25K floor, we spent about, let's see, do a quick little, we spent about 24 days in about that floor, from about when we dropped from 39 to all the way back down to about 27. You know, that was that was a pretty significant correction. I mean, you know, not for a lot of us, but some of us, for most of us, that was pretty big. And then we only bounced about here for 23 days, and then we ended up catalysing, and then we ended up slingshotting, you know, up to 55, and that was another. Let's see. Oh my goodness, that was literally another 20 days pretty much of absolute just pretty much green candle after green candle. I mean, granted, we had one red day in between that day, but you can see now kind of when I'm on the charts that you see now why we have to go back now and flip these at support. And realistically, guys, this is just a great opportunity to dollar cost average. You know, for those who don't know what dollar cost averaging is, whether it be $5, $10, $100, $200, whether that be a day, a week, a month, every 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. Buying that asset at the same time, the same day, every single week or every single day, whatever you prefer, is going to ultimately be the better outcome than you trying to time the bottoms and the tops. I still DCA. I never stop dollar cost averaging just because it's easy. I forget about it. Actually, most of the time I forget about it. I only get my email. I do it every Saturday for Bitcoin and Ethereum every Friday. So, you know, for most of us, payday, you know, depending if you get paid on Thursday or Friday. So this is where we're looking at right now. I think for the overall Bitcoin chart, I'll do a Ethereum TA update video just a little bit, but I know Ethereum during the summer months is historically known to not perform the absolute best, but overall they are still looking very, very well. I don't have anything to be worried about particularly. You guys know I don't come on here and, you know, scare you guys. I let you guys know the honesty, of course, but, you know, in terms of where we're sitting and where I'm sitting, like, I'm by far not worried at all. Gonna continue. I'm still buying. Never really stopped DCA dollar cost averaging at all. You know, I treat it as a savings account. I really do. You know, just for the terms of, you know, everything we just covered, guys. We got a lot coming here in the next couple years, and these guys are not very responsible with how they're doing our monetary system. So, alrighty, guys. I think that is it. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover for today. I kept it under 30 minutes, which was pretty crazy. I must have been talking really, really fast. So, I appreciate all the support, guys. Thank you for always chiming back in here and, you know, saying kind words. And, you know, I've had a couple DMs and people, you know, text me and say, hey, like, you know, like, you've really helped me out with just understanding and, you know, being more, you know, mindful about, you know, this technology and just overall. I do appreciate the DMs and kind words, guys. Like, that's really all it is. Like, education is so important. And education is important in the things that matter. We don't need to be learning about
you guys know, if you guys are, I know I have a lot of younger guys out there who just graduated high school and stuff. You guys know that some of that curriculum is just you'll never use it again. But there is some curriculum that will change your life forever, such as this, in my opinion. So, alrighty, guys, thanks so much. Share with friends or family. Think about subscribing to Patreon if you haven't already. Our lowest tier is literally $3. Our live streams are always free, and you get a Discord community with a couple other guys and girls who who do these live streams with me. So, any questions or anything, you guys are more than welcome to leave a comment, send any messages or DMs. I'll gladly get back to you. Definitely when I can. I try to keep it within 24 hours, but thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Stay safe. Have a great weekend, and I will see you guys next week.